Hello YouTube from the Sailor Sister. We are going to be working on one of my favorite looks, Sailor Pluto from Sailor Moon. If you just follow along, I do give a full tutorial on the makeup. You can just follow along with the looks. So the very first thing I'm going to do is get rid of my eyebrows. They are bushy and I don't need them, and I'm going to paint new ones on later on anyway, so I don't need these right now. So what I am doing is using my Elmer's glue stick and just get it all in there, go multiple ways with the glue to get it all on all of the hairs. Then take your eyebrow brush and scrape all of the hairs vertically as much as possible.
Paint comes right
Get them all going because you want them to separate. You want all your hairs to separate, and then you take the other side of the brush and just kind of go over it lightly, press down, make sure those hairs get as flat as possible and stick to the skin as flat as possible. I do go over the edges of the where the glue is because I don't want any excess glue out. So get that and go all the way up, get your brows as far up as you can, and then just wipe off any excess so that it doesn't cause any troubles later. I'm going to give it just a couple of seconds to give so that the glue dries just a little bit. That's one of the reasons why I go with the purple stick, because you can see it actually dry from purple to a clear color. And once that gets a little bit done, then I'm going to add a single layer of powder onto the brows. You do want to make sure that while you're doing this, that you make sure you put the powder all the way in to the brow, covering all of the glue that's in there. You want to make sure all that glue has been set so that it is very dry and it's not going to release on you throughout the night. Just kind of brushing off any extra powder that might be on there. Here I am checking to make sure that it is dry. I did find a little area that it was still wet, so you do want to make sure that you find all those extra still gummy areas, and if you do find any more, go ahead and add a little bit more powder to kind of dry that out just a little bit more. Once you do one layer, get that all set in, go ahead and apply another layer. You don't have to go as thick on this layer, just kind of getting it in there and making sure that you're getting one more level of flatness to the eyebrows here. And then once you get that on, you don't have to wait the second time because you're not putting as much glue on the second time. Go ahead and powder that right down directly.
What do you decide was really wrong? You don't just get sick, you go to the cold.
Alright, it's time to put on all the makeup. So here I am, starting with my foundation and just making sure that it is very smooth and going through all of the areas. I'm just kind of do this in a little fast forward. You don't need to watch 30 minutes of me putting on this makeup. So just do a little bit quicker. I am putting on extra foundation on top of the eyebrows just to make sure it kind of blends in a little bit more. Make sure once you get all your foundation on, that it's very soft in all areas that are on here. And I am now setting with my powder one more time just to get a good set all over. Make sure that you do want to test the skin, just kind of tap around on the skin to make sure that you are getting all of the areas dry. So I am using the Morphe 25L palette powder for some of this look. That is the Pride palette from Morphe. And so what I'm starting off here is I'm blocking out my ridge line. Recently I decided to go with a different look for my ridge line, so they're more up and going up with the look. So I start with a dark color, and then I go to to block out that line, and then I'll go to another color just above that, so that's a little bit lighter in color to fill in a little bit of the highlights there, and make sure that we're getting all those colors in. You want to blend up, so start darker to lighter. Here I am just filling in my beard, so I have a good solid beard line, so I know where to start and stop, and filling in my contour. Now I do use a hard paper stock to go from the corner of my lip to like the center top portion of my ear. That way that the contouring is the same on both sides. So I start with a base color, and now you can see I'm going down to another color that's a little bit darker underneath that. And once you get all that, start filling in contour around the rest of your head. Go to my forehead, just make that a little bit darker, not too dark, but just a little bit to fill in all those colors. And then finally I'm going to add a little bit of pink into those cheeks to make those in, and I want to add a little bit of contour into my nose just to make my nose look a little skinnier than what it already currently is. Alright, it's time to go adding in the paint for this. So I use my makeup for my eyes that I use as the Mirror in Paradise paints. So this one I'm going to start with their black paint. It is a water activated paint. It goes on very smooth, and you just paint right on, and it's almost like putting a paint on. So I start with black. I do my eyes completely because they disappear, so I have to go a little bit higher to see the black once it's on there. And I do also go out on the side and cut out my cat eye, as you can see. You can just do one and then the other, and then just fill in as you need. So I'm going to add a little color underneath the eyes, because we're going to add a little bit of a second level underneath the eye to give that different shape to the eye. So here I am adding my black line in, so it gives a fake under eye lash. So I'm going to take a little bit of black, and then I'm also going to take the powder from the 25L palette and blend that out. So it kind of blends into the pink. And if you accidentally cover all the pink with the black powder, just add a little bit more and blend it in. Alright, and now we're using more of our Mirror in Paradise paints. This is a more metallic-y palette that they have, and I'm using the green metallic color, and I'm actually just using this on my beard because I want it to match the hair later. So I start on the beard, just filling in as much as possible, and we'll just do the entire beard all the way around. This is something I really enjoy doing, is incorporating the beard into my look almost every single time if I can make it work. And you can see when I added that contouring in earlier for the beard itself, when I added that little bit of color, what I did was I was making my line, so I knew exactly where I was going to put this color a little bit later. Again, you want to make sure you get your colors in. The water-based paints for the work really good on the beard, and just kind of like put it in there, and just make sure you're brushing it around into your beard. It'll fill in your beard fairly well. Fairly well. So now I think I'm moving on to my eyebrows. So I'm going to start with the same color. I'm using the same green, and I'm going to start in the center. And the way I make my eyebrows is I take from the color that I started with in the beginning, and I actually chisel out my eyes from the very beginning, so I know kind of what I'm going to go with later on. And here you see I'm adding just a little bit of extra depth to the eyebrows by adding a little bit of black on the underneath. And then we are going to finalize this look by adding more dimension to our brow crease, and then blend that out with a little bit more of the 25L black powder so that it blends out into that look, into the brow colors. All right, and that about covers it, and there is the final look for Sailor Pluto. Thank you and enjoy. Hope everybody has enjoyed watching this tutorial.